In 2023, South Korea recorded its lowest number of marriages since national records began. The crude marriage rate, the number of marriages per 1,000 people, fell to 3.8. That is less than half the rate recorded just 30 years earlier. Korea has some of the most downloaded dating apps in Asia. Its entertainment industry exports romantic fantasy to the entire world. And yet fewer Koreans are choosing to marry than at any point in the country's modern history. So the question is not whether Koreans are meeting each other. The question is why meeting has stopped becoming marrying. Statistics Korea reported that the total number of marriages in 2023 was approximately 194,000, down from around 430,000 in 1996. The total fertility rate, tracked by Statistics Korea and cited by the OECD, fell to 0.72 in 2023, the lowest ever recorded for any country in the OECD database. According to Korea's population census, the share of never-married adults in their 30s has risen sharply over 2 decades, from roughly 14% of men aged 30 to 34 in 2000 to over 50% by the early 2020s. A Korea Institute for Health and Social Affairs survey found that among unmarried adults in their 20s and 30s, more than half said they were not currently trying to find a partner at all. And Korea's household registration data shows the number of single-person households now exceeds 35% of all households nationally, a figure that has roughly doubled since 2000. The mechanism is not romantic failure, it is economic architecture. South Korea's housing costs rank among the highest relative to income in any developed country, with the KB Real Estate Index showing Seoul apartment prices roughly tripling between 2000 and 2022. Under the traditional Korean expectation, a man is still widely assumed to secure housing before marriage. When that becomes impossible on a single income, marriage gets deferred and often abandoned entirely. Simultaneously, Korean women have become one of the most educated female cohorts in the OECD, yet the World Economic Forum consistently ranks Korea near the bottom of developed nations on gender equality in the workplace. For many educated Korean women, marriage carries a documented risk of career exit. A Bank of Korea working paper found that Korean women's employment rates dropped sharply in their late 20s and early 30s, the prime marriage and childbearing years, in a pattern far steeper than comparable economies. Dating apps arrived into this structure and made introductions cheaper. They did not change the underlying cost-benefit calculation. Meeting someone is now easier than ever. Committing to the economic and social contract that Korean marriage still represents is what has become harder. The costs are compounding faster than most projections anticipated. The UN Population Division projects South Korea's population could begin contracting meaningfully within this decade, with the working-age population shrinking at a pace that threatens the pension system's solvency. The National Pension Service itself has warned in public reports that fund depletion could arrive by the mid-2050s without structural reform. The government has spent an estimated $200 billion on pro-natalist policies since 2006, according to figures cited by the Peterson Institute for International Economics, with fertility continuing to fall throughout that period. Social isolation carries its own costs. The Korean Ministry of Health and Welfare has acknowledged a loneliness and social isolation problem serious enough to launch dedicated policy responses. And beyond Korea, the demographic signal is spreading. Japan, China, Taiwan, and parts of Southern and Eastern Europe are watching the same pattern unfold with different cultural packaging, but the same economic logic underneath. Korea is not a cautionary tale about technology failing romance. It is a precise case study in what happens when the economic and social contract attached to marriage stops being affordable for the generation asked to sign it. Dating apps are a distribution layer. They cannot reprice housing, flatten workplace hierarchies, or redistribute the domestic labor that census data shows still falls disproportionately on Korean women after marriage. Every society that is watching its own marriage rates soften, and there are many, is looking at a version of the same underlying equation. The Korean case is simply the most advanced and the most documented. The lesson is structural. When institutions designed for one economic era remain culturally mandatory in a very different one. People do not reform the institution. They quietly opt out. Korea shows what that opt-out looks like at scale.